Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you a complete home exercise program you can do for frozen shoulder. Now, I posted a video last week outlining the best treatment for the early stages of frozen shoulder. I recommend you watch that video. A link is provided in the description below. Now, frozen shoulder is tricky because we're not only dealing with severe pain, but we're also dealing with a severe restriction in our range of motion. So to start this off, no home exercise program would be complete without first hitting the like button. For each like this video gets, summer here, it's one cookie. But honestly, hitting the like button helps out my channel a lot, and it pushes me to keep putting in the time and effort necessary to create these videos. Now with that said, these exercises and techniques are things that I have used with my actual clients who have had frozen shoulder. And this program is exactly what I would follow if I had frozen shoulder. Now I bet you didn't think we'd be starting a home exercise program off in a bathtub. But each day before we do our exercise program, what we're going to do is we're going to put heat on that frozen shoulder. The reason we're going to use heat is because heat loosens up all the tissues in the shoulder, so that when we do our stretching exercises, we're going to get the best stretch. Now there are a couple different options we can choose from for our heat. We can use a hot water bottle. We can use a heating pad. Now the parameters for those, you just want to put them on for 15 or 20 minutes before you do your exercises. Some other options, we can choose to do our exercises after taking a hot shower, or in this case, a hot bath. It doesn't matter which method you use for heat, so long as you ensure before each time you exercise, you use heat. So after we've heated up our joint, our tissues have relaxed, now we want to start with a low impact exercise that is going to further stretch the joint, but has the added benefit of improving the lubrication in that joint and improving the nutrition. This is going to further help the healing process. With the pendulum exercise, you're going to lean over a couch or your counter. You're going to completely relax your arm that has frozen shoulder in it, and you're just going to use your body to sway back and forth using the momentum to get your arm moving. It's not about how much you move your arm, it's all about feeling relaxed. You can alternatively go in a circular pattern. We're going to do this for 1 minute. Now if we want to get more traction or pull in our shoulder with this exercise, what we can do is we can add weight. But we do not want to hold the weight in our hand. We don't want to grasp the weight, because then that activates all the muscles, and that will reduce the amount of stretch we get at that joint. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to take a grocery bag. I'm just going to take anything I have that has some weight to it and put it in the bag. In this case, I'm taking Summer's cookies. I hope she doesn't mind. So I place them in the bag. Now what I want to do is I'm going to put my arm through the bag like so. I'm going to turn the bag around my wrist, and I'm just going to let my wrist just relax down. So again, I'm not going to grab the bag. I'm just going to completely relax my arm, and I'm going to do the exercise the exact same way. The key is to remember to relax your arm completely and to use the momentum of your body to move your arm. For this exercise, you're going to need a band. That's a loop. The thicker the band, the better. You're going to loop your band around a heavy anchor point. You're going to put your arm through the band, moving the band down as close to your armpit as possible. You're going to slide your body down to ensure the anchor point and your shoulder are aligned. You're going to use your other hand to support your frozen shoulder arm. If you were to let go, the frozen shoulder arm should completely fall because it's completely relaxed. With our arm completely supported, we're going to hold this for 1 minute. This should feel like a slight separation stretch in your shoulder. If you want more of a stretch, simply slide further away from the anchor point. So with active assisted range of motion, the key is our frozen shoulder. We want that arm doing as much of the work as possible. and our other arm that's not injured is going to help the minimum amount necessary. You're going to need a broom, a golf club, a hockey stick, any type of stick. The first range of motion we're going to do is flexion. We're bringing our arm straight up overhead. Now we only want to go so far as our shoulder does not hike. For example, take my stick. So I'm putting my frozen shoulder arm on the top, my other hand down here, and I'm going to try to bring my arm up as high as I can. I get to a certain point, my shoulder goes to shrug. I don't go any further. So it looks like this. Up, back down. We're not holding this exercise. We're just going all the way up, all the way back down. Okay, we're going to do 10 of those. Immediately we're going to go into our next exercise, and this is abduction. Our arms by our side. We're going to try to bring it up, all the way overhead. This is a really hard movement to do when we have frozen shoulder. So again, we're only going to go so high as we don't get that hike in our shoulder. It's very common to see this. That's what we don't want. So we can take our stick, hold it the same way, our frozen shoulder arm is right on the top, other hand down here, and we're going to come up as high as we can and back down. So again, when I'm doing this arm is doing all the work. This arm's just helping the minimum amount necessary. Now, depending where you are in your stage of frozen shoulder, you might be able to get your arm way up here, or you might be stuck to just down here. Whatever your case is, just work within that range of motion. The reason our shoulder wants to hike is because our shoulder joint is frozen. It doesn't have any more movement. Our shoulder blade is trying to compensate. So that's why we have to make sure when we're doing these active assisted range of motion exercises, we only go to the range we have. We don't want to go into that shoulder hike. The third and final exercise is a rotation of the shoulder. Now this is also going to be really stiff. You might only get just a little bit. The key though is we want our elbow to stay in at our side. I don't want to be doing this. It should look like that. I'm going to take my stick. I'm holding it underhand, nice and tall. I'm just trying to rotate out. Back in. Rotate out. It's like a 90-degree angle at my elbow. Back in. 10 of them. So 10, 10, 10, those 3 exercises. What a combined movement is, where we did a single plane of movement with our active assisted range of motion exercises, combined movement is going to combine 2 or more of those motions. So if we think about the first one, when we try to scratch up here behind our back, when we're showering, we're doing our hair, that's a combined movement and it's something we have to stretch and work on. We're going to take both our hands, we're going to put them behind our head. What we're going to try to do is we're going to try to bring our elbows as close together as we can. And then we're going to put our elbows as far apart as we can and squeeze our shoulder blades together. Bring them back and back out. So again, we're not holding this. Together and out, that's 1 rep. We can do that 10 times. And then after 10, we're going to hold it. Bring them together. And then come out, squeeze them out, hold, and then you're done that exercise. So the second movement we have to do is putting our hand behind our back. Just like we're trying to scratch an itchy back. Very restricted movement in frozen shoulder, so it's very important that we work on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand nice and tall. We're going to try to put our hand as far behind our back as we can. So normally it would look like this. With frozen shoulder, we might only be able to get to here. Whatever the case is, you're going to stretch it at that range of motion. Hand behind my back, I'm going to lean against the wall, so my entire back and my hand is against the wall, and my elbow is pushed against the wall. I'm going to try to hold this 30 seconds. So here's a really good tip for everyone out there, not just those with frozen shoulder. When you're stretching, you're trying to improve your range of motion. When you're done that stretch, you have a new range you've gained. How do you keep that new range? You need to strengthen within that range, which leads us into isometric shoulder strengthening. Isometric means opposed to moving your shoulder through range, you're going to hold it at a given point. Now the first one we're going to do is flexion. So that movement we did where we worked on trying to bring our arm up over our head. And what we're going to use is the back of a chair. Rather than just working on an exercise down here, if I can get my arm up this high before I start shrugging my shoulder. I want to strengthen in this area. So you put your arms up on here. This helps you relax, and it brings you closer to the range where we're going to strengthen. As opposed to starting down here, I got to work all my way to bring my arms up. If I just start on the back of a chair, I only have to work a little bit. So from here, I'm going to bring my arms up as high as I can without that shoulder shrug. I'm going to hold 5 seconds and then come back down nice and slow. Up, hold, 5 seconds, down nice and slow. Now this might be hard for some people, just the weight of your body. But if this is really easy, you can start with holding onto a water bottle or a can of beans or soup. So we want 10 reps, each rep held for 5 seconds. So the next direction that we worked on was bringing our arm out to the side, up overhead. So now let's say I'm able to get my arm this high, but then I get that shoulder shrug. So I want to work on this range of motion in here to strengthen in it. Same thing, you're going to take your chair, you're going to stand sideways, arms on here, thumb up. Make sure we're not lifting with our thumb down. Thumb up, and you're going to lift that arm up right before you get that shoulder hike. And you're going to hold it there 5 seconds. Back down slow. Up, hold right there, 5 seconds, down nice and slow. Again, if this is too easy, you can hold a water bottle. We want 10 reps, each rep being held for 5 seconds. So our third and final movement that we did for our active assisted range of motion was this rotation outwards. What I'm going to use for my resistance is the wall. So I just stand up near my wall, I rotate out, and I'm pushing into the wall, just like that. Rotate out into the wall. It's like I'm trying to rotate further than I can, but the wall's blocking me. Nice tall posture. And again, remember the key with this is you're keeping your elbow at your side. I'm not bringing it out like this. We're holding for 5 seconds. We're going to do 10 of those. You should feel this mainly in the back of your shoulder. So another thing that happens with frozen shoulder is we start walking around with these shoulders that are really rounded. Our shoulder blades are moving right around our back. We're getting this rounding motion. So we have to have an exercise in our rehabilitation program that helps fix our posture and at the same time works on strengthening those shoulder blade muscles. There's 2 parts to this exercise, so I'm going to break it down. Step 1, then step 2, and we're going to combine them. Step 1, you're going to stand with your back up against a wall. And what you're going to do is you're going to, with both arms, you're going to pull your elbows back into the wall, and by pushing your elbows into the wall, that's going to lift your body out away from the wall. So it looks like that. We should really feel this right in the back of the shoulder here. We also want to get some type of range of motion that has a rotation to it, that gets that rotator cuff firing. We're going to take our band that we used earlier, and what we're going to add on top of that is we're just going to rotate out slightly, right like that. Rotate out. So if I combine both of those together, I'm standing up against my wall, I'm pulling my elbows back into the wall, lifting my body off, and once I'm there, I'm trying to pull that band apart. So from this angle, back's against the wall, my elbows, I'm pulling my elbows back behind my body, pushing into the wall, my body comes off the wall, and then with the band, I'm rotating outwards. So we want to hold this 5 seconds, and we want to do 10 of them, and you're going to feel your entire back light up. Now once our range has started improving, we're building up some good strength in our shoulder, and we've addressed our posture and our shoulder blade muscles, the next thing we want to do is we want to do exercises where our arm is in contact with the ground. And why we're doing it is because it's going to help activate the entire rotator cuff at once. It's going to help with the lubrication and the nutrition of the joint to help further improve our range of motion and to help along with the healing process. So there's going to be 2 exercises that add this compression into the shoulder. So we're going to start on our elbows. And all I want you to do is you're going to lift up. I'm on my knees here. Now I don't want to sink down. I want to push through my elbows and bring my body up as high as I can. My shoulder blades are moving around my body. So we come up, again, we're trying to hold for 5 seconds. Back down. We're going to try and do those 10 times. Second one we're going to do is a side plank. So although the side plank is a great core exercise, it's also a great shoulder exercise. It makes the entire rotator cuff fire at once. So what I want you to do is your elbow is right underneath your shoulder. It's not out here, not down here, right there. Your legs are straight. You're gonna bend them. So you're gonna push down with your knees, push down with your elbows, and you're just gonna lift your body up like that. 5 seconds, back down. Right up, 5 seconds. With this hand, try not to push down, that's cheating. Back down. One more key with this is with the shoulder, you wanna make sure you're not kind of sagging down like this. You wanna push down with that elbow and be as tall as you can. You should feel a better activation in the shoulder doing that. What's left to do is we have to work on functional movements. We talked about at the beginning, some of the hardest movements to do when you have frozen shoulder are things like doing your hair, scratching your back, or reaching to the top shelf to bring down a cup or a plate. We need to work on these exercises because it's things we do every day, they're the most restricted, and because over time, we've started doing all these with our unaffected side. Our frozen shoulder side hasn't even tried to do these movements in such a long time. We have to train it back to doing so. So for my example here, I'm gonna work on taking a cup down off a shelf and putting it back up. So my left arm has the frozen shoulder in it. When I reach up, I wanna make sure I don't get any of that hiking of my shoulder. So I can use my other hand to just feel for what my shoulder does. Reaching up, get my cup, I'm gonna bring her back down, nice and slow. Same thing going back up, take my cup, reach right up, and put it there. As you can see, no hiking of my shoulder, and I didn't lean back to help. So with an exercise like this, you can work on 10 reps, but what's more important than the number is the quality. If you're only able to do 2 or 3 of them one day, just do 2 or 3. It's all about the form. No shoulder hiking, no leaning backwards. And you can do this with really anything. You can work on doing your hair. You can work on scratching your back, putting on your shirt, focusing on doing the majority of the work with that side that has a frozen shoulder in it. So that is a complete home exercise guide for frozen shoulder. I just want to finish with some final thoughts. So we know everyone is at a different stage of the frozen shoulder process. My recommendation is to try each and every part of this home exercise guide, find where your limitations are, where you're having the most difficulties, and focus on those specific exercises. Because frozen shoulder takes so long to go away, and it's such high pain and such restriction, we can be very hesitant to do our home exercise guide. But what I can tell you as a physiotherapist, the people that see the best results are people that do their home exercise program each and every day. As always, I'm not going to just give you something and send you off with it and say, see you later. If you have any questions, you need progressions on the exercises, please leave a comment below. I'm more than happy to help you. Thanks everyone for watching. Please subscribe so that you can be the first to see all my future content.